Guys, I'm here to finish up the end of the presentation with a quick audio file. The last thing that we were getting at in the third period was the Glorious Revolution, where William III and Mary II come into power and establish the Bill of Rights, which makes Parliament a permanent body. This is a huge change now because Parliament had been developing power, but now it's solidified. It's in writing. Parliament is going to be a permanent body. It's going to be a check on the King of England, and this is really the foundation of where Parliament goes. So the details about the Bill of Rights are: first, no law could be suspended by the king. The king could not veto a parliamentary act just because he doesn't personally agree with the issue. Parliament now had that control over that specific issue. Secondly, no tax could be raised or army maintained without the consent of Parliament. Parliament had the power to oversee where the money was being spent, so no longer could a king just go rampant and do what he felt like doing. Third, due process of the law, no matter your wealth. No matter how poor or rich a person may be, he has the same rights regarding the law as a nobleman. A peasant could not be thrown into jail for no reason. This is a huge change now because the king used to have the power of being able to take anyone away and throw them into prison. However, that right does no longer exist, and each man has individual liberties. No man is above the law, and the king is not above the law to be able to take away individuals and throw them into jail. Fourth, only a Protestant could become king and hold office. This was obviously in retaliation of King James, who was Catholic. And again, the whole country becomes divided over a Catholic leader. However, what this bill signifies is that Parliament is now saying we are going to determine what type of role the king can have. He's under our laws, not his own laws. So this is a huge change over Parliament, which used to be an advisor to the king and was a body to assist him. Now is a body that ruled over the king. Parliament forced William of Orange to sign this bill into law when he became the king, and created Parliament as a permanent body. So again, the most important things are it kept the under the solid system of government. It kept Catholics out of the politics. It protected the rights of the common man. Additionally, the House of Commonwealth gained an equal share of power now. So now the two branches here were of equal weight, and Parliament can function really well to represent the common man here. Again, as a check against the king and his tyranny now, individual liberties are much stronger emphasized. So Parliament again had the power to implement bills such as this one itself, and could govern them without the need of the king. Religion would no longer be a splitting issue that separated the houses, and again, this totally transformed Parliament, because before it'd be a body that would be called up only when the king needed money, but now it was a permanent body to determine legislation in England. So to conclude, over these three periods, Parliament starts out as being a weak body that has really no control and no check against the government at all, into forming into its modern self that really is a powerful legislation determining body that really stands out for the common man, and is a king again, and is a check against the king. So first, again, during the Commonwealth of England, England is a weak body at the mercy of the ruler. It can be dissolved at any time, so it really didn't have any continuity, and it couldn't be effective. Again, if the Parliament passed anything that would upset the gentry, it really wouldn't fly. And when Oliver Cromwell dies, England lacks a central leader, and just falls into chaos, and Parliament is ineffective at commanding the change and bringing peace. And that's what brings us into the second stage, which is the Restoration period, where Charles II is restored to power to bring order. However, he was much more understanding than his father, as he saw that when his father conflicted with Parliament, it led to a war and eventually his own death. So he was much more he worked much more with Parliament, and this is where Parliament started to become a more powerful entity. So under the Cavalier Parliament, political parties were formed, and this is kind of the foundation of the current system. This is kind of important because it signifies a huge change between the old system, where Parliament was just one set of advisors that would advise the king now, to two separate parties that are disagreeing within themselves and coming to resolutions within themselves. So no longer is Parliament just one opinion to the king, rather it's opinions within itself that are coming to certain conclusions. Additionally, what we see here is Parliament becomes a check when Charles II declares a Royal Declaration of Indulgences, which protects all Catholics. Parliament forces him to repeal the act, and sets up a new act to say that Catholics are kind of barred from religion. Clearly, this shows that Parliament clearly this shows that Parliament has the rights over the king. And so this check against the government was something that was unprecedented before. So finally, after Charles II dies, James II comes into power, and he's Roman Catholic. The people are upset about it, and instead of Parliament being ineffective, they're able to support William and Mary as they come in with sheer force. They bring in 15,000 troops. James II loses his support base and flees, and William comes into power. But here, instead of falling apart during a crisis, Parliament is able to react and brings in the Bill of Rights. As it was determined, it makes Parliament a permanent body that would determine the laws that would affect everybody from the individual up to the king, and force William to sign it. They could govern and tax themselves without the consent of the king, and then from this moment on, Parliament resembles its current form as a body for the people against the absolute ruler of the king. Thanks for listening, guys.